Okay, let's see if this is gonna work. So, Chris, we have you in YouTube, yes? Checking?
Yep.
Okay. Are we there? Is it live?
Nope.
No.
It is not live.
It's telling me it's live.
Oh, wait. It's live.
There we go. Okay, so it wasn't lying to me. All right, so that I can stop holding my breath about. Okay, so let me find Discord among all these buttons. So we're just waiting for Trevor, and Trevor is going to be late anyway. Okay, so our folks in Discord, or not in Discord, our folks in Forge, as we get started with our session 0 for the One Ring.
I am.
Okay.
I am, I think.
Yep, I see.
Shall not pass.
Yep.
And a bunch of arrows, people going all over the map.
Oh, there's a character sheet there. That's
yes,
marvelous.
you should have a character sheet in.
I just saw it. That's marvelous.
Okay.
I'm still looking out to add distinctive features, flaws, and reward virtues and stuff.
Chris created some this afternoon while I was working.
Ah.
I'm not sure where they are.
Okay.
Yeah, they're under items.
There we go. So they're in the briefcase.
Great. Now I can populate what I need. That's how it works. I've been reading the README you sent us about how it works.
And like for the rewards, you'll probably have to actually, like, if you take like close fitting armor, for example, or cunning make armor, you will have to manually adjust those on your gear. But the virtues, I think I put effects on all of them, so they should auto calculate things like bonuses to endurance or lower target numbers or whatever.
Cool. I haven't actually heard Tony's voice yet. I see him there, but.
I am here.
Oh, excellent.
I can hear him loud and clear.
Perfect.
Hello, Tony, sir.
Sir.
Yes, you two haven't met, I don't think. I don't think you guys have been in a game together yet.
I don't believe so, no.
Okay.
So hi,
I'm Anita.
Tony. I'm Pierre-Luc.
Yes. Pierre-Luc played Gary in the Call of Cthulhu game after Luther, who Tony played, had gone back to America very wounded.
So you were that guy that I heard so much about.
Yes, that's the guy.
All good things, I'm sure.
Well, it was mostly from Evelyn, so.
Yeah.
Good thing.
Yeah, basically, yeah.
Especially when we were thinking about flying somewhere. She was like, oh, no. No. This one pilot I trust, he's already left. He's gone back to America.
I wonder how Luther would have liked flying in Australia.
He never did get to roll that skill.
No, he never did.
Surprising that
I made another
rolled
character before Gary, but that guy just shot Nyarlathotep, and that was not great.
Yeah, he died.
Was there a guy before Gary?
Yep.
I don't remember him.
Yep,
Neither do I.
Like 2 games.
Oh, okay. Well, someone will have to go back into our Call of Cthulhu games and see who it was that he played before Gary, because I don't remember.
I think it was Antoine or something.
Sure.
Yeah, something like that.
How come I cannot put my skill on the character sheet?
Is it because it's paused?
No, you have to hold down Alt and.
Oh, yeah. It's Alt to add and Shift Alt click to remove. Took me a while to understand that part.
Yeah.
The most intuitive of interfaces.
Well, it's a safety feature, so you don't accidentally like add or subtract things when you're trying to roll things.
Which makes
Well, it's
sense.
true. It's unlikely to Alt Shift click something.
Probably not. So we'll get. Let's see. I don't actually have. Ooh, look at that. I'll bring up Redigar's character sheet. I'm not sure which of you Redigar is.
Me,
Chris? Okay.
me.
I thought it might be because you had like a token already made. All right, so Chris is playing Redigar. Chris is usually our game master, our eternal game master.
I get to play like 2 games.
It's true.
You play more than 2 games.
Well, let's see. I play this Pathfinder. Pierre-Luc ran some Delta Green.
Will do eventually.
Yeah.
If
Yay!
everybody's down with it, I'm gonna manage something.
Yes.
And we talked
I
about
like you guys.
we talked
Aw.
about alternating One Ring and Delta Green when it fits.
I'm
Yeah.
fine with that. I would
You're not
be-
my mother.
God bless, that would be strange.
I'm a mother, not your mother. I would be fine with that. I don't plan to run the One Ring again for 2 weeks anyway, just because that will give me a chance to get some stuff done and work things. Okay, Robin Goodchild is Tony,
Yar.
which makes me giggle. It'll be fine. Nur. Who is Nur? Is that Yorick?
Yep, it's me.
Okay, perfect. Okay, and that would mean
I would be Perry Wayward.
nice.
And I'll carry on my wayward son.
Okay, and does anyone know if Trevor named his character yet?
Yes.
Do you know what he named his character?
Talash. Talaith.
Sorry, Tal.
Aith.
Okay. Let him get that set up once he's here. All right, we have a character sheet for the company, which I will have to play with because there are other people who need to be in there too.
Well, once you have your character, you can just drag it over to the company sheet.
Yeah, a lot of it is going to be getting used to how this is set up in Foundry, in addition to getting used to a new game. But it's a game by Free League, and we've played a lot of Free League games. So,
Most of them.
Well,
I'm sorry. How do I add weapons, armors, and stuff?
oh god.
if you go to the items, so it looks like the little briefcase up at the top right, there should be rewards and useful items and war gear.
Okay,
You need,
thank you very
you
much.
need to drag them to your sheet.
Yep. Chris added a bunch this afternoon.
My hero.
Mine too. Because I was busy doing other stuff. Yeah, there aren't many Free League games we haven't played at this point. I don't think. Tales from the Loop, maybe?
Tales from the Loop, Tales from the Flood, Symbarum.
I played 2 of those. I played Tales from the Loop and Symbarum.
Probably at
Uh,
Envicon. I know that Ruins of Symbarum was played
I
at
thought
Envicon.
Tale from the Flood was a follow-up to Tale from the Loop, not a separate game, but I might be wrong.
It's both.
It's the one I haven't checked yet.
Oh, and Electric State.
This one I haven't even heard about it.
I think that's the one I have the art book for.
Yeah. And I think I'm the only one that's played Blade Runner.
Yeah, I haven't played that.
We'll throw it in the rotation. It's an awesome game.
Did I not? No, I don't think I did play in your Blade Runner. Because you ran out at Envicon, right?
Yep.
Yeah, I don't think I did. Okay, so, we could wait for Trevor, or we could just get started.
I think I managed to get everything in. I think the fellowship is something we need to do together.
Yes. And you don't have a patron yet, so
Yeah.
that's part of the fellowship.
Yeah, I had a
With a
deep
company.
dive into how that game works last time we talked about it, but it's been a while, so I'm trying to get
Yeah.
back on it.
And looking for my books today, my starter book has gone somewhere. I don't know where. So, yeah. I have to get
Sabotage.
teammates for that.
So for the useful items, I'm gonna tell Chris so he's gonna make them.
You can add them.
Yeah, like I added in like the standard, like the suggested ones or the example ones that they have in the book. But if you want something else, basically it's just something that when you use it and it's appropriate, it gives you a bonus on your skill.
So there's a little folder with a plus, but there's also the little
Suitcase.
suitcase. You click on the suitcase, it allows you to create an item. You create it and slide it on your sheet.
Yeah, if you set the type as miscellaneous, it'll go in the right spot.
Yep. The other thing to make sure I noticed this when I did my character is make sure you set your starting endurance because it doesn't automatically set it to the maximum, so you have to do that manually.
Oh, mine did. Well, maybe I put it in. I don't remember.
Nurse endurance is super low.
I have 14 of load and 14 of endurance.
Yeah, your endurance should be way higher. You're a dwarf, right?
Yep.
So your endurance should be strength plus 22.
Yeah,
Okay.
that's 28.
14, 22 should be 36.
It's the TN or it's
It's your actual strength score,
which is 6?
just 6. Oh, so it should be 28.
So 28 minus 14 is 14.
Yep, but you don't minus your load.
Okay. I thought it was minus the load.
The way it works is if your load plus your fatigue is equal to or higher than your endurance, you'll become weary.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, because you end up shedding gear in combat or something as you
You can.
get tired.
Yeah.
You
And
can to
sometimes you
mitigate that.
Yeah, because a lot of times when you take damage, you'll take damage to your endurance. So you're like, well, I'd like to have this helmet, but god damn, it's heavy.
That checks out.
All right, so we'll start by looking at your attributes, just to make sure that everybody is good. Exception Nur. Let me just bring up Nur here. Or not Nur, Talaith. 18. Yikes. What is he? Is he playing a man of Brie?
Trevor?
Yeah.
Trevor's playing an elf.
Yeah, Trevor's an elf.
An 18-year-old elf?
No,
Well, he wouldn't have been able to fill in his sheet yet, so.
Oh yeah, maybe. That could be it.
That's
Well,
the
I am
baby.
playing a man of Brie,
Excellent. Okay.
18 years old, that does not want to be uh, wed yet.
Smart man.
So let's go for adventure. I mean,
So
please.
Chris is playing a hobbit. Tony's playing a hobbit. Yorick is playing a dwarf. Trevor's playing an elf. And we have a human. Excellent. That sounds like a perfectly good fellowship. Or company. All right,
Brie
so
Blood gives a +1 rating to the fellowship.
what?
My Brie Blood gives one
Oh.
more rating to the fellowship.
So your attributes are strength, heart, and wits. You'll see those right at the top of your character sheet. High strength, you're tough and fit, quick and alert, physically attractive or imposing. It's really up to you how you distribute your points in your skills to make that happen. Your heart is your capacity for emotion, empathy, and enthusiasm. You can be fiery and energetic or hard to daunt, and anything underneath, like in heart and travel, insight, healing, courtesy, and battle, all rely on your heart score. And high wits, so that would be if you're clever, attentive, and ingenious, and you'll see the stats that relate to wits underneath. So persuade, stealth, scan, explore, riddle, and lore. Strength would be awe, athletics, awareness, hunting, song, craft. So fairly self-explanatory character sheet, especially if you've done as much gaming as we all have. So your TN, your target number, is going to be used with all of your strength skills when you're making rolls. Same with heart and the skills underneath it. So they are considered valor rolls. It's like in heart and insight, etc. And wits will be used with your wit skills. And if you're rolling about the wisdom of something. So I expect some of you to do very interesting things with wisdom. Good child, really. Tony and I have known each other since we were 11, which is why I find him using the name Good Child especially hilarious.
Because I was not a good child.
It's a pity Trevor isn't here yet, because Trevor could back that up. Trevor and Tony are brothers, for people who aren't familiar with our gaming group. Yeah. So your distinctive features are basically descriptive attributes. And you can use them to affect your chance of success when you're rolling dice. So you'll want to keep those in mind when you're listing them Let me see if the character sheet actually has a spot for distinctive features.
It does. Just underneath the skills.
Oh, there we go. Perfect. And those are the ones Chris added to the... Yep,
Yeah, I
he
just
added them
created mine.
under the items. So some of them are determined by the species you are. Some of them are going to be determined on what kind of a character you are. And some of them are just going to be who your character is as a person. You have 2 dice types. You have a feat die, which makes me giggle every time because it's the 12-sided die, so it should be easy to remember.
12,
And your
12 sided, 12, 12 sided in the feet.
Exactly. And you have your success die, which is your d6. On those, if we... Let's see if we can roll a couple. Okay.
Is there always a feat die with every roll we do, or?
Yes. From what I've seen. I'm just going to see if I can get... See how bad my dice luck is. Not a single one. Okay. On a... Wow. So, there are... You'll have to take my word for it at this point, because I can't seem to roll one. There's a rune on the dice. There are actually 2 runes that you'll need to remember when you're playing. One is going to be the Gandalf rune, and the other is the Eye of Sauron. And when you get those are bad. Well, bad for the Eye of Sauron, obviously, good for Gandalf. And I'm not going to be able to roll anything that actually shows them.
We can see it on the side of that 5.
Yeah, in the column it's showing up. So when you bring up your, like if you click awe, for instance, you can see the Gandalf rune. I'm not sure how it's going to be for everybody's character sheet.
Yeah, it's
But
a
the
kind
feet
of a
die. Yeah,
kind
it's
of
a
a
Nordic
Y.
rune. Kind of. A one-sided Y-ish.
Yeah.
And then the Eye of Sauron looks like an eye. There's one.
Here we have it. And then we
Yes.
get the
Yeah.
rune of Gandalf on the side.
So those will either determine a success or failure. Let me just try to find it in the book.
And we should mention to people, anybody who's watching this or anything, this is Anita's first time running a game really in like 3 decades.
Yes. I have not run a game in 30 years. So that should tell you how long I've been gaming. Because I was in my 20s back then.
That tells you also how long Chris has been placed as our DM.
I mean, quite often, yes. There were a lot of years of LARPing when tabletop wasn't as much of a factor. But tabletop never ever went away. But yes, and I've never run anything. I don't think I've ever run anything that wasn't a White Wolf game. So, and I bought my first White Wolf game back in '91. So, that was my thing. I've also never run a game on Foundry, and I've never streamed a game, a tabletop game. I've done streaming for my Fallout through the PlayStation, but not like this. So yes, this is going to be rocky at first. So please be gentle.
Rocky roads are great ice creams.
I mean, nobody watches us anyway, so
I mean that it is a little comforting.
at the end of the day, right?
Well, we had some people on Masconure at the tip, and
Yeah.
Like, can we
Pe-
have fun? Yeah.
People are watching and even commenting on some of our Kingmaker stuff.
Really?
Nice.
so we'll have
Well,
fun.
2K did
And
well.
if people show up, they show up. Don't
So
need to be more complicated than that.
I'll keep my job.
Yeah.
You and me both. Apparently, I am not giving YouTube enough video to maintain smooth streaming, so viewers may be experiencing buffering. If we have any viewers, that will be a concern. I'm sure they're fine. So, yes, your feat dice will have numbers ranging from 1 to 10. They should have a Gandalf rune, which looks like the kind of one-sided Y, and the Eye of Sauron, which looks like an eye. Should be pretty easy to tell. So the Gandalf rune is going to be the highest number you can get, and it is going to be a success regardless of what your totals are. And the eye is the worst possible number that you can get on a feat die, and it counts as a 0. So we all know if I was a player, I would be rolling eyes all the time.
Yada yada bar mitzvah.
Yada yada bar mitzvah. On these success dice, there should be an elvish number, 1, which looks like a T, that I don't think anyone managed to roll when we were doing little test dice there a second ago. And I don't know if it'll show up on, if we're just using the dice at the bottom. I don't think it will, because it should have been on that 6. There we go. There's a T on the D6.
6
Yeah.
with a little T.
Yes. So that indicates a superior result. So when you're looking at degrees of success, that will work in your favor. Speaking of favor, you can have favored and ill-favored dice rolling. It works much the same as I'm trying to remember what it's called in D&D. Advantage and disadvantage. So if you have, if you're getting bonus dice and you're getting 2, then normally you would be rolling 2 extra dice. If you have something where you're getting those dice taken away because something is not in your favor, then it works the same way. It's just taking dice away. So if you have 3, if you're getting 3 bonus dice from various things, and one of them is being taken away because something is not in your favor, then you're just rolling 2. You don't have to worry about rolling all of the dice and then trying to figure out what's what. So you're normally going to be rolling dice if you need to manipulate something, if you're going to be in danger. So combat, obviously, which hopefully you won't have to do terribly often at first. There it is. So if you're in danger, if you're going to be manipulating something, or if you need knowledge, so if you're doing lore rolls, you'll have dice to roll then as well. So if you're trying to obtain information that's not readily available, if you're in danger, that's pretty self-explanatory. Something is dangerous. And manipulation, if you're trying to influence one or more NPCs. So that should be fairly typical of what you're normally used to in a gaming experience. For your target numbers, that would be the number that's in the larger box under Strength and Heart and
Wits.
thank you. I need a much bigger screen to do this.
Or
So
more
I
coffee.
There's no such thing as too much coffee. That's true. There we go. No, I'm just used to using paper. The last time I ran a game, everything was on paper because
Computers didn't exist.
they did, but
Might have been on a tablet.
definitely not like this. We were back in the 386 days. So yeah, it's a very long time ago.
So while we're kind of on this, what are people? What is everybody actually good at?
How do you define good?
Like things that you have, like, actual skill in, or things where you have a target number like lower than, like, for example, my strength target number is 18. I am not good at any of the strength related stuff.
I have a heart of 18, but I have like 3 dots in travel. It's a favorite skill, and I have an item to help me with it. Because I need to be able to do it, and I'm not good at heart. So I have lots of things invested in that skill. I am really good at lore and scan. And not bad at craftings, riddles.
I would be okay at insight and healing.
I'm awareness, insight, stealth.
Right.
Sneaky
I am courtesy, insight, travel, and hearten. Can kind of stealth just because I'm a hobbit.
I got more skill because I took mastery as a virtue, so I got like 2 more favorite skill.
Oh, nice.
So I can keep on my own on skills.
Yeah,
I'll see. I don't think I'm that bad, but I never played a game of
Apparently,
that thing.
Apparently, I'm good at singing because I'm strong.
Well, your voice carries.
Yep.
Robin is the strongest hobbit ever.
I inspired the characters on the Stone Singer, the dwarf Stone Singer. So thought that song should be good.
Yeah. Rudiger is pretty much a people person.
I think I went through the sheets that hit Discord, and we had at least a dot in every skill.
Oh, good. Somebody's good at everything.
So we at least are skilled in each thing.
To me,
My target numbers are 15 across the board, so I'm not specialized in anything in particular.
yeah, my heart target number is 13.
Strengths and
16,
wits.
16, and 14.
I got 14, 18, 14. And I'm specialized in one art skill. That's the only one I'm going to try to roll. I have courtesy, but it's like my heart is not into it.
And the important question is, do we have like an Aragorn or a Boromir to like keep us hobbits alive?
Trevor made a champion and gave him a strength of 2.
Did he make a champion? I thought he made a warder.
No, I made the warrior. He's a champion. Yeah.
Oh,
Sorry, strength
he's,
of 4. He's the same strength.
he is a champion. Look at that.
He went 4-3-4. His specialized. He's really good at what his best stuff would be like athletics, battle, stealth, lore.
Did somebody add Trevor's stuff in?
Yes, I did.
Oh, thank you. Because I opened it up and I went, age 146. Well, that's definitely not 18. Yeah, he's got some athletics.
The
But
big
like,
thing,
I don't think anyone's specialized in battle.
no. The
Yeah,
big thing is though,
I have a
is,
point in battle,
Oh, there we go. Yeah.
but
Trevor's
my
got
heart
2.
is not into it.
Exactly.
Again.
the big thing is he's an elf, so if he really needs to, he can be really, really good at whatever.
Okay, so we were talking about dice rolls. So when you have the, let me just open there. So when you have your attribute and your skill that you're rolling, that's going to determine 2 things. You're going to roll 1 feat die, and the number of success dice that you have as dots in that skill. So they look kind of like d6s on their edge, returned to a diamond shape. So, Nor, for instance, would roll his 1 feat die, because that's what you roll for your attribute, and then for battle, he would roll 1d6. If he was traveling, he'd roll 3. And then you're trying to. There you go.
Ooh, that's a great roll.
Sneaky hobbitses.
They are. Did you roll 2 feat dice? What were you doing?
It's because
Management stuff.
he's favored.
Ah.
Oh, yeah.
Hobbits are broken.
I mean, quite often.
If there's one hobbit, it's a criminal. If there's 2 hobbit, they're up to no good. But, I mean, sometimes they just destroy old people jewelry or steal vegetable. But
My cabbages.
So, when you're rolling, you are trying to get higher than your target number. So, if Nor is rolling something in strength, if he's trying to impress someone with how awesome he is, then he's going to roll his feat die, 2 success dice, add up his totals, and hope that it's over 14. If he gets a Gandalf rune, then he is going to succeed, no matter what his target number is. And if he gets an eye on the feat die, then he's going to fail, regardless of how many success dice he has and how well he rolled on them. On the success dice, when you do roll a 6, so it has that little elvish number 1, the T icon. That is normally a superior result. So it would normally indicate that your accomplishment is out of the ordinary. Just double checking when it comes to, like, if you've rolled an I and you've rolled a 6.
Well, the eye just counts as 0, so you could still succeed.
I mean, technically, if you were rolling enough success dice. But that would have to be pretty impressive. So
Yeah, Yorick did it with a lower roll above. He rolled a 1 and still succeeded.
Yeah.
Oh,
well, like
did too.
Like I've got 3 dice for courtesy and a heart target number 13, so I could succeed even with the 0.
So I am an extraordinary healer.
Good.
Guess we don't have any fighters.
I mean, we got an elf.
I mean, I'm a lumberjack, so Eve doesn't move that much.
Yeah. I'll post it to the Discord too. There is, like, if you get the great or exceptional success, it's kind of like momentum in a 2d20 game. You can do extra things.
Oh, I gotcha. Yeah. Gain info, go quiet, make it faster.
Yeah. Oh, I do like that Foundry tells you whether it's a like success, great success, or extraordinary success.
Yes, that's very handy.
Great success.
Built that in. What are you trying to do now?
Oh, I was seeing how armor rolls worked.
So when you were rolling that one, what were you clicking on in Foundry?
Just under combat, armor.
Oh. Nice.
Yeah.
So we're going to be testing a lot of. We're going to have to do some testing to see what's been built into this particular module.
30 armor roll. What the hell?
Yorick's man.
There's a reason he has like a really high load. Is it high load?
Well, the dwarf advantage is that all of my armor costs half load, so I can have a
And
bit
I'm
more.
dead.
Oh, that's bad. That's very bad.
It's
Well, I mean,
Chris's fault.
I mean, to be fair, like the difficulty, like if you get hit by like a 2-handed sword, the difficulty is like 20. So I guess a 30 is pretty good.
Yeah, not so much the one that was rolled with the company, which I think is the one that Pierre-Luc rolled.
Yep.
All right, trying to think of what else we need to go. If you guys want to go through character creation, just to make sure that everybody's got everything they need.
I was at the virtues and
Rewards.
rewards thingies. Yeah.
You
You
get to
guys kind of
choose.
pick one of each, I think.
Yeah, it's one of each.
Yes, but yeah, I was like, the virtues. Is that just for the common virtues, or is it for the cultural virtues as well?
Your cultural virtue you can't get until you get to Wisdom 2.
Well, that's perfect then. I'm gonna choose something else.
Yeah. Your virtues and rewards have to come from the starting ones. And
What did
then,
everybody take for rewards and virtues? Because they're kind of big bonuses.
I have cunning make armor because I am a weak ass hobbit. And I am confident, so my maximum hope is 2 higher than it should be.
Oh, nice. I took a keen short sword because I put an extra dot in swords. And I took prowess strength because I am the strongest of the hobbitses.
Apparently, yes.
I got a close-fitting armor because dwarven made, so even more armor. My armor, and my virtue is mastery because I'm a lore master, so I know a lot of stuff and try a lot of things that dwarves usually just don't bother with.
Obey
I'm
them.
hardy, so that's it
Sounds right for a human.
for the moment. I'm looking at. I'm choosing a reward at the moment.
I saw that Chris took like bows, I think, for your skill, your combat skill.
I have bows and a sword. I'm not good with either, but I have them.
Right.
I'm
Okay.
not too
So
bad. I have axes and bows, and I'm not too bad at them.
Actually, I have a bows of 2 and a swords of 1, but I have a really high strength TN.
Yeah, my
yeah, because
strength,
your strength's 2, right?
My strength is 2.
Yeah.
my strength is 6, and I got 2 points in axes, so I should be able to be useful. Does bow use strength too?
Yes, your target number for all of your combat stuff is strength.
Okay, so I'm not too bad at bows either. Should be able to defend us until our hells arrive.
Hopefully.
I have a little bit of battle skill, but battle isn't hard, so oops.
Yeah, because it's a matter of not giving up.
Yep,
It's
and
that
yeah,
determination to
the
keep
the age of
fighting no
dwarf
matter
is
what.
the age of dwarf is done, and not giving up is hard.
Yeah. Yes. Speaking of the age of the dwarves, kind of. Timeline-wise, this takes place between Bilbo's return and uh, the first, um, the Fellowship. So that span of time between Bilbo getting back from his first adventure and Frodo getting caught up in adventuring, it's in
So
that time
post
period.
small.
Post Smog and pre, I guess I can't say pre Gollum. Um,
But pretty hell. Yeah, I get you.
yeah.
So we're set in between the crappy movies and the good movies.
Ouch. We're
I mean,
set
that's fair.
we're set between the trilogy that shouldn't have been a trilogy and the trilogy that is 11 hours long. Yes.
One of the relative of Tolkien made a super cut of the 3 movie into 1 movie. I should find that back and send that to you.
Yeah.
It's apparently way better pacing.
It
I
should
mean,
not.
I'm still disappointed that like Goldberry and Tom were just never mentioned. But
Yes, that is sad.
yeah,
Yeah, it should not take you longer to watch The Hobbit than it would take you to read The Hobbit.
That is it.
that's fair. That is entirely fair. It would be much faster to read. The Hobbit is like a good afternoon.
Yeah, I think I read it in grade 5 or something.
Yeah.
I don't know. It was the first one I read, and I didn't read it until high school, which is weird because
I did
I guess it's
something
not
very
that
dumb.
weird. I was reading more horror back then.
I did something really dumb in that time. I read everything I could, and when I had nothing to read, I read like cereal box and anything that was lying around. And
Encyclopedia sets.
yep, and somebody told me that Lord of the Ring was the greatest fantasy thing, and I should really read it. So I made research and found out that yeah, the correct orders chronologically for the books are Silmarillion, The Hobbit, and then
Oh
Lord of the Ring.
God.
So I started with Silmarillion, which was
Ouch.
I read
yeah.
that book too.
Yeah, I didn't read. I didn't read the actual Lord of the Rings trilogy until the first movie came out. And then I didn't read the Silmarillion after the third movie, I think. And I have never wanted different letters to be involved in names so much as I did while reading that book.
Oh yeah.
Like, painful how close some of those names are together. I get it from a linguistics point of view, but man,
I mean, a lot of those books were painful.
I don't find them painful, but the names are, yeah.
That guy could describe a tree in like 4 pages. It's ridiculous. But anyway, yeah.
Said, lots of said. So callings. Chris, what is Rudigar's calling?
I am a messenger.
So this is theoretically what motivates you to seek your life of adventure.
It is my duty to travel to distant lands, carrying tidings and warning people of the coming danger.
Gossip.
Yep.
Which is very hobbity. I mean, hobbits are very interested in what's going on, as long as they don't have to go out and do it themselves. Nor, what is Nor's calling?
I am a Loremaster.
Ah, yes.
Uh,
That should go really well with Rudigar. He will always have something to tell you, I'm sure.
I want to see the world outside the mountain to learn its song.
And Tony, what is Robin's calling?
Robin is a warden.
Ah, yes, good, because we always need bounders. And that should reassure Rudigar that he's not going to get killed right off the bat.
No, what's not going to get me killed is I'm not stupid and I don't go into dark caves.
Also a good plan, if you can stick to it. Perry?
Perry is a warden too.
Oh. You should be fine then, once we find out what the elf is. Somebody
Elf is a
said
champion.
champion, thank you. I was going to say, I know somebody had it up in Discord, so. Okay. And then you've all got your various weapon proficiencies, combat proficiencies, if you have them.
Yep. I think I'm the only one that put points into it, though. It's very expensive to raise combat proficiency, so I see why most people do.
I did to have 2 in axes and 2 in bows, but yeah,
Oh, good.
pretty expensive.
Yeah, I wanted to get axes to 3, but that was not an option.
Then, sorry, I'm just bringing up books for control effing, which sounds so much worse than it is.
Control the effing what?
Let's see here. I'm just checking to make sure everybody's got their cultural blessings. Is there a spot for that on these character sheets?
There is up at the top near the
Oh,
center.
excellent. Okay, perfect. Chris, Pierre-Luc.
Yep, I got mine.
Yep,
Okay.
yep.
I'm going to assume that Trevor has his. And everybody's got some
Yep.
distinctive features.
Yep.
My blessing is that every armor is less bulky for me.
Yes.
Because you're so little.
Yes, I'm a little ball of metal.
Oh no. He was gonna go walking around patting everybody on the head. You're so tiny.
I mean, considering the rest of the team is 2 other hobbits,
I mean, it's
he's
gonna
the
be
tallest for sure.
it's gonna be funny anytime he has to go into anything in Hobbiton.
Well,
Anything in the Shire in general. It's like,
men of
oh,
Bree are
look who's
small
got to
for
bend
men's.
over all the time. They are small for men. If you compare them to like the men of Numenor, who are all, you know,
Statue.
renowned men of old. Um, yeah, by comparison, men of Bree are shorter, but still, compared to hobbits, yeah, he's gonna have fun
Grumpy
if
and
you guys,
fluffy foot.
if you invite him out for ale or a meal.
Or 3.
Hmm?
A meal or 3.
A meal or 3, yes, because how dare you only have one meal? You need at least 3 meals together to actually know a person. um, Going down through endurance is going to be your physical stamina and determination. It'll be reduced when you're subjected to physical harm, stress, and exhaustion. Trying to find right window. There we go. So you'll find that down under resources. That's where your endurance will be listed. And then fatigue. You'll accumulate fatigue points while you're on journeys. It raises your load total temporarily, making it easier for you to become weary, which is why when you're in combat, you might want to toss off a few things, like a helmet or a weapon you're not using at the moment, or hopefully not armor, but we'll see. Um, Fellowship points we will worry about later when you've actually got. Or sorry, no, we can do your fellowship points because it's going to be the number of people in the company, and I assume that you're all going to be in the company.
Yeah, I would think so.
I
I
would
would
think
think
so too. I
Shortest
would
game
hope. I
ever.
mean, it's going to be really awkward if you're not. Now, on that character sheet, do they have... Oh, yeah. So if you scroll down quite a ways, just above undertakings, you'll have a spot for fellowship. So
And the mana break gives us a +1 to that? Is that how that works?
let me double check.
Each mana of bringing the company increases the fellowship rating by 1.
Oh, nice.
We need to go find ourselves some more humans.
I mean, they can help you reach things on the higher shelves. So yes, that's basically representing your bond of trust between you.
We even have an elf.
Yeah, weirdly, that is not going to help.
That's a sign that it's going to be a great story. And those kind of group don't happen if there's not a story happening.
You don't find an elf and a dwarf in the same room.
Unless something dire is happening.
Pretty much.
It was very hard not to make an elf.
I mean, I can understand that you do have a tendency.
I do like pretending I'm better than people.
I thought about making an elf, and then I'm like, no, I'll make a hobbit. And then they released the elf book, and I'm like, oh.
Is there a dwarf book?
There is. There's the Moria book.
Ah, nice.
So you can play a Balrog.
No.
Yeah.
Well, you guys can. I suppose
I
technically
don't think
could.
it counts as a dwarf.
No.
A lot of
Definitely
dwarves
not.
in the trench coats.
This might explain some stuff.
So, for fellowship points, you can spend points of fellowship to recover hope while you're resting. And fellowship can be spent to trigger certain effects that your patron will give you. But we'll have a patron in 2 weeks.
Ooh.
Anytime anyone spends a fellowship point, everybody adjusts their number. So it is a lot like momentum in that way. For people who are used to like Star Trek or some of the other games that we play. But it is a common pool. So if you are spending it, definitely double check with everyone else. They are refreshed at the end of each gaming session. So the next game starts, you'll start again with, I think it's 6, because you have a man of Bree with you.
Yep.
Yeah, we cool.
How much was the total?
6.
6. Since fellowship is a common pool, any expenditure must be agreed upon by all player heroes.
Yes.
So it's like momentum.
Yeah,
Yep.
exactly.
Except if somebody's like, no, we're not spending it on that, screw you.
Well, that's why it's a representation of the trust and camaraderie between you all. So if there's dissension, then there isn't that trust.
The another game that uses a similar system, if you actually take some from the pool and somebody disagree, you get corruption.
Oof.
Let me double check.
I don't think it's in the One Ring, but another game that uses the same mechanic. Probably another game from the same school of thought.
Do you need consensus for spending momentum? I don't remember.
You technically you don't.
Yeah, I didn't think so.
We did ask,
Yeah.
but it's not.
Most people do, but yeah.
Yeah, I know
Well-
in Star Trek we
Well,
usually
the-
double check. And...
But like the way the momentum flow is supposed to go is you make your roll, you generate your momentum, and that's your momentum, and then you spend it, and whatever you don't spend, it goes into the pool. It's usually
Like the
like
blind dice or whatnot.
yeah, buying dice. Everybody's like, is it okay if I do this?
Yeah, yeah.
I mean, common courtesy, right?
But just so fellowship is absolutely consensus.
Fellowship is yes, must be agreed upon.
Yeah, we're Canadians, so we have to.
We'll apologize as we spend fellowship.
Sorry, I just need to use that to roll an extra die, because otherwise, yeah, I'm going to fail this.
Because if not, y'all dead.
Yes, that's something else. If people haven't been exposed to us before, we are all Canadians. So there may be unnecessary apologies. I'd apologize for that, but I refuse to give in to the cultural stereotype.
We're not
apologize
yet
for it at some point.
Americans.
You did just apologize.
Never, ever, 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 ever. I live in the land where the air hurts my face for a reason. One of them is because it doesn't have all the poisonous, bitey things with too many legs that Australia has.
The thing here, I have to
Two-
buy frost resistance, so
It's
they
not
cannot
the
buy
US.
flying and venomous. Like, you pick your lane.
We don't have to put up with a bunch of earthquakes or tornadoes. We don't usually have to put up with hurricanes. By the time they get up here, they've lost most of their strength anyway.
Just a bunch of Wolverine.
Just wolverines and polar bears. Yeah, they do kind of. And moose. And geese.
But they're not poisonous and they don't fly.
Yes. Well, I mean the geese, but
They're not poisonous.
no.
They
No.
don't do boat.
No.
Snake chicken,
Cobra chickens. Yes.
cobra chicken, yeah.
Yeah. Let's see. I was going down through some stuff here. Fatigue. You'll get fatigue when you're on a journey. Raises your load total, makes it easier to become weary. If you get too weary, you're just done. You're not going anywhere. You're not doing anything. You're tired. You're suffering penalties when you're taking actions because you've just had it. Talked about fellowship, flaws. Characters can end up with flaws due to the shadow because Sauron corrupts. That's kind of his thing. It may be in big ways, it may be in tiny ways. You may end up being arrogant, and that's because of the shadow and its influence over you, or suspicion, or anything, greed. All of those unpleasant characteristics are flaws, and they are as a result of attention from Sauron and the shadow. You've all got your heroic culture. Hope is your spiritual vigor that you can call upon when in danger. So you should have a hope rating. I don't have a character sheet. I guess I do have one up, but I'm not looking at it at the moment.
I have 21 hope.
Okay. Oof. What?
Yeah.
Holy.
Mist arrived. I don't remember
I
exactly
have 10
how.
hope.
Yeah, you can spend those for extra success dice, which is good. So you can gain one die, one success die, so a d6. So yeah, I can see where having that many would be handy for a guy who just runs around gossiping all day. Let's see what else you can do with it. If you spend hope while you are inspired, then you get 2d6 instead of 1. So you can get inspired because of your cultural virtues or using one of your distinctive features. Let me just bring up a character sheet here. So under distinctive features, I've got Nora at the moment, so he's willful and lordly. So if he can find a way to use those to become inspired, then he can get 2 dice for the price of 1 hope. 10 hope, so not quite as...
Sorry, I miscalculated. I only have 19.
Still almost twice what the dwarf has, which seems appropriate.
I mean,
I
yeah,
mean,
it's
hobbits
fitting.
haven't gone through the kinds of things that dwarves have gone through, so that
A
makes
little
sense.
sour. It's like,
Maybe just a little. Let's see. The elf's only got 11. He's got a 24 endurance, though. Let's take a look at hope for a second, because I don't think Perry's might be right, but I hope not, because that says terrible things about humans.
Should be his heart plus 10.
Yeah, right now he's only got 1.
No, in the big box I put 14.
Oh, there we go. Okay.
It's not me as a person, so I have a little bit more hope than that.
It's not Gary.
Most definitely.
Okay, your load, since we're down in that section of the character sheet. Your load is your weight and encumbrance. If your endurance is equal to or lower than your load, then you are weary. So if you have, your endurance is 26, your load is 8, you're fine.
As you start to pick up fatigue and as you start to lose endurance, though, that will change quickly.
Yes, yes. If you are built for sprinting and you are running long distances because you have an elf who just insists on it, then yeah, that's likely to change. Or if you get used as the pack horse because you're strong, then that could change. You do have some. Bring up a sheet here. Under health, that's where you'll see weary, wounded, poisoned, and miserable. If you have, let me see if I can move things on my screen so I can see a little more of what's going on. Okay, so if you're miserable, you're going to check that if you're going to find it harder to accomplish anything. Let me just see if I can find a better explanation. So you can gain shadow points gradually through the game. If your shadow rating matches or exceeds your current hope score, then you become miserable. So that's your current hope score. Important to note. So if you're spending tons of extra dice because you roll like I do, and you need that extra d6 to even hope to cross the road safely,
You become Nyarlathotep's bride.
Yeah.
maybe. Yes. As a spoiler to anyone who hasn't watched all of the Call of Cthulhu games, I do end up becoming Nyarlathotep's bride. Yay, a wedding.
Oh man, miserable and weary suck.
Yes, yes, they do.
Well, they're not called jolly wee fun things. So
It's
most
not less
definitely,
happy, it's miserable.
So yeah, if you're miserable and roll an I, you automatically fail.
Yes.
If you're weary, all of the success results in an outline, which are the 1, 2, and 3 are ignored.
I don't know. Are the dice here?
The actual physical dice do have outlines.
Yes. I'm just wondering if they put them on in the. Oh, it's not going to show if I do it that way. No. If I can get one of the players, anybody, to just roll something. Okay, so they're not outlined on these, so we'll have to make a note of that.
Well, I imagine if you click on is weary, it'll just not count them.
Oh, maybe. Give it a try, Chris. Ah, there's the outline.
The joys of Foundry. You don't actually need to know how it works.
Yeah.
It just doesn't.
I mean, if it's a well-built module, and this one so far seems to be, then yeah. Nice.
Oof. Even while weary, I still get a great success on courtesy. Tired and I want to go to bed, so let's just hash this out now. And then
Please,
I'll
could
to
I go to
sleep.
bed?
You be
I mean,
polite, but
you're such a happy, polite little thing.
let's see. Poisoned. Hopefully you guys won't end up poisoned, but it is a possibility. They don't have it listed under conditions. That's weird. Okay. The next one, wounded, is the one we haven't talked about yet. So serious injuries can make you become wounded, as opposed to bumps and bruises that you'll put up with. Wounded heroes who remain active risk being knocked out of combat and recover lost endurance points more slowly. So if you are injured, go to Rivendell, let them stick you in a bed somewhere, and rarely take visitors. So you will want to rest, much like Frodo did.
And much like Freely games, this one seems to be a bit of a game of attrition.
Yes.
It wears on you, like with the travel rules and all that.
Yeah. If you are poisoned, you cannot rest. And you must roll for the corresponding endurance loss at the end of each day. So the dagger to the shoulder that Frodo took in the Lone Lands on Weathertop, that would have been very bad, because at that point, I'm pretty certain he would have been considered poisoned in game terms.
Sure, look poison.
He certainly looked poisoned, yes. I don't know if they have any. Oh yeah, orc poison? Yeah, orcs seem to be the only poison they have listed.
There must be spider poison.
I would think.
We'll never see a spider. It's okay.
That's true. You will never see a spider in a game that I'm running. There may be other terrible creatures, but you will not find a spider. That's my hard limit, since we are kind of doing a session 0 in addition to going over basic game stuff. Yeah, I don't do spiders. Yeah.
I mean, Shaleb's not technically a spider.
It's technically a demon, so it's gonna be shaped like a lizard.
Sure.
Reskin.
A giant mouse. Why? Because I have no trouble at all with mice. None at all. Anything, as long as it's not a spider. If it's got more than 6 legs, that's
so scorpion
too
is
many
a no
legs.
too?
Scorpions, I'm not keen on, but
Okay.
they look enough like crustaceans that it's not so bad. Crabs, don't bother me.
Okay.
Murder lobsters.
Lobsters.
Shelob
Lobsters.
is a lobster.
I'll just put it near water, and it could be a crab, and it could, and that's fine. My brain
Web
doesn't
spitting
say,
crab, but that's okay.
no webs. No.
I
I don't.
sea cucumber.
It's no. I can't handle the gravity ignoring traits that spiders have. That doesn't help, and the skittishness doesn't bother me with mice. Cannot handle it with spiders. Are there other things that people do not want to encounter in this game? Obviously, violence against children. That's just a no.
That was my call, so you just...
Children-shaped people, like hobbits.
I think there should be no violence against hobbits.
Yeah, it really gives me a heebie-jeebies. No violence against hobbits, no. My other than that would be anything graphically sexual, right? Like
Yes.
we've all played together, so
This is not an X-rated game.
yeah. I don't want to see any of that
Might
sexual
be R for
Violence is my
Might
hard
be
limit.
R for violence, depending on how corrupted you guys end up being, or how far into Mordor you think you want to go. But
we don't.
Yeah.
What are you talking about?
I'm saying right here at the Prancing Pony.
Yeah, the first couple of games will actually take place probably the Shire and Bree.
We gotta have
Because
to build levels, so we need to kill rats for the innkeeper, and then get
I'm
pumpkins for the grocer and stuff.
I mean, kinda. That's generally what starting level stuff ends up being. Um, I'm not going to throw you up against a Nazgul right off the bat. That would be
Oh,
mean.
good.
Yeah, I thought you might like that. Um, no fell beasts. Uh, so you don't have to worry about
I
black
can handle
dragon
rabbits.
shaped ish things. Rabbits are good. Um, yeah, maybe a horse. Maybe because
With no name.
you've got two people who are tall enough not to just walk under them. So there might be a horse.
We
Um,
actually do get to start with mounts.
you can. You don't have to.
I am bringing my pony.
Ponies and horses are different.
Bringing my hobbit pony.
That's even smaller. All I can think of is a hobbit pony. Is like one of those itty bitty Shetland, like miniature Shetland pony type things that are just would walk under an actual workhorse.
Don't judge.
Specifically because I have a common standard of living. It is a half-starved pony.
Oh,
My pony is My pony is happy.
We have a bunch of half-starved ponies.
I didn't take a pony.
well, at least yours isn't half starved then. Maybe that'll be the first session. Is you guys need to feed your freaking ponies. That's just
The
Feed
important
a
thing
bunch
is
of.
he's half-starved, but he still saves me 1 point of fatigue on travel.
hopefully your elf will take mercy on that pony and take it under his wing
Carry
or
the
something.
pony.
Other sources of poisoning, by the way, you can get food poisoning.
Oof.
Hobbits
What?
with your 8 meals a day,
That
or
is
6
barbaric.
meals, or 12 meals, or however many you can manage to fit in.
I agree. 8 meals a day is barbaric.
Who will poison?
So much judgment here.
Yeah.
We don't like short people. You don't like eating. Pretty soon, you're not going to like smoking the hobbit weed.
Well, it's okay. We won't invite them to second breakfast.
Oh, that's just mean.
It's the only one I can get to. Breakfast is too early for me.
Right? Things like snake bites. So theoretically, you could get bitten by a sufficient either sized or number of insects. Since I'm not going to have spider bites.
You know what? You know what's not in the Shire? Snakes.
Do you have winters where the air earth your face? Is that why?
I'm just
They
saying. I've
don't.
never seen a snake in the Shire.
You know why you don't see snakes in the Shire?
Well, I don't go looking for them.
And that probably helps. But you have bounders. And
I
bounders
was
are responsible for the safety of the Shire.
I was expecting them to eat them, but yeah, that works too.
Ew! I could see a ranger eating a snake, no problem at all. I
Yeah.
cannot picture a hobbit doing it under
I can.
probably any circumstances.
Very well cooked.
Unknown.
If they don't know it's a snake. There we go. Unknown.
Mystery meat.
Yes. So there are different sources of poisoning. It's not just the orc poison that they mention. So that could be an issue at some point. Just let me see if they have. Yeah, poisoned was the one that we were missing. Okay, so your load, we went through that. We will have to talk about rewards. Pieces of gear that have superior craftsmanship, basically. You get rewards when you attain a new Valor rank, and that comes with time and experience and actually doing things for people. So basically, Valor is your status as someone who does things, great things even. Courage in dangerous situations, and each time you gain a Valor rank, you get a reward. So on your character sheet, it's up near the top under heroic stature. You have Valor and Wisdom. So that's where you can find that on the founder sheet. Let's see, we'll go through parrying in a bit. A safe haven is a base of operations, essentially. You can rest there. You can. It's a place where you're actually definitely safe. So it's not one of those, oh, you think you're safe, but then you get betrayed. No, a safe haven is actually safe. So you'll probably have one, I imagine, in the Shire to start out with. Because we'll have patron, your safe haven. You already have your fellowship rating, and then you'll get fellowship focuses as well.
Oh, we should be from Crick Hollow.
I mean, you could.
Just because then we can say, what's up down at the Crick?
I feel picked on now. You know what
I've
they
spent a
have?
lot of time in the creek.
You know what ends at the Crick?
The Shire.
Torchlight Parade.
Oh, yeah.
This is what happens when you grow up in a village of 310 people. People mock where you go swimming. It's terrible.
But, I mean, on a more serious note, though, like, Crick Hollow is right near the borders of the Shire, so, I mean, I would imagine, like, elves and dwarves and men wouldn't come terribly far into the Shire.
If they're going into the Shire, it's probably to get to the other side.
Right?
Which sounds terrible, but yeah, to get
I mean,
through, it's the fastest way to, say, the towers in the west, I believe.
I mean,
If you're going to,
if our safe haven is supposed to be in Hobbiton, I'm very comfortable with my character having developed the bad habit of liking Hobbit food. Just stopping here often for food.
Or Hobbit leaf.
Oh, I mean, yes. Shouldn't tell my mom about that part, but
there is a rumor that hobbits have this leaf that they smoke. They seem really happy when they do.
And
Why we don't get weary or miserable.
It's very
That's right.
relaxing.
but they do have another status effect, which is called munchies, I think.
this explained all of Hobbiton.
It explains everything about hobbits right there. Yeah, except they probably don't smell like skunk. Or maybe they do. Who knows? I don't remember them being described as smelling like skunk.
Skunk,
So.
onion, and soup.
Oh, God. That's a combination I don't need to think about. But yes, you can use your safe haven during the fellowship phase. We'll go through phases as well. Trying to see some different things about safe havens that you'll need to know. Brie is a good choice that they recommend. They mentioned that you might end up in the city of Tharbad, which you could use. Rivendell, you could use, because they are going to be guaranteed safe places. You're not going to get attacked in them unless something goes drastically wrong. But I don't see anything going that badly. That would completely wipe out the actual trilogy if you get attacked while you're in Rivendell.
Sauron attacks Rivendell, destroys it.
That would go very
That
well.
would change the narrative. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
definitely would.
Get wrecked, noob.
I mean, Bree makes a perfectly fine safe haven for us.
It does. I mean,
Yeah, but it's kind of close of my parents.
I like Frogmorton
Frogmorton.
just because of the name.
I mean, there's plenty of wonderful names in the Shire. If you want to pick one, you should. The hobbits, at least, should choose where they're actually from in the Shire. Just so you have an idea of how familiar you are with each other or how close you are to Bree. To kind of determine which NPCs you might have run into.
Yeah, I think we had a tentative plan of being brothers, actually.
I think so.
So one of us will have to change your last name. You wanted to be a Took, didn't you?
Yeah, I just thought it went
You could
well
be
with
cousins.
Rudigar. We could be cousins.
There's no lack of cousins in the Shire. Everybody is somebody's cousin, probably
It
twice
sounds
over.
so wrong.
It does. I would make a comment about maybe that explaining why they're so short, but that seems mean.
Wow.
I'm not exactly tall. What do
I'm
you
gonna
say,
start.
wow?
I'm gonna start writing this shit down. I gotta keep a tally. Or you shitting on hobbits.
No, if you want to keep like a book of grudges, you need to play dwarf for
Oh right,
Dragonbane.
yeah.
That's
Sorry.
yeah.
You've insulted me before.
I played the dwarf in Dragonbane briefly, but very fun. Like everything that ever hurts me is in the book.
Yep.
Oh, if I was playing a dwarf in that game, first off, I'd have to be playing that game. Yeah, I would definitely. That is worth going and getting a notebook to actually keep physical pen and paper notes about people who have wronged me. Yeah, but I can't play it because there's talking ducks, and that makes my
Mallards.
brain ache.
I think I'm going to be from Tuckbank. That makes sense.
So I have the map of the Shire up.
Honestly, I would be very comfortable with our
Nice.
safe haven to be somewhere in the Shire.
I mean, for a dwarf, it makes sense. You're going to be passing through. For humans, there's usually something that needs to be done by someone who's a bit larger than a hobbit. It's not like there's a lack of things to do. And at the very least, in the Shire, you're going to get a good pint of ale and a good half pint of ale and really good food and peace and quiet, probably some music.
I mean, some of the like where the safe haven would be might have something to do with our fellowship and our patron and all that kind of stuff too, right?
Mhm.
So we might need to put that together first. I'm not sure how that works, but
It doesn't have to.
Yeah, because we can pick up like multiple safe havens as we
Yes,
as we
it's
go.
not. Yeah, it's not going to be just one place forever, but as a starting point, it'll probably be in either the Shire or Bree. Just because they're fairly central-ish to everybody's
Does,
cultures.
does the story has a specific patron in mind for the group?
I don't yet. That will
Because I saw that Bilbo
probably-
is one of the possible patrons.
Yes, they do have a list of possible patrons in the book. After reading through the starter book, there were things in it that I disagreed with.
Which is fair.
Yeah, I can't handle bicycles in Lord of the Rings, so there aren't any. So yes, I will come up with some low-level stuff involving probably one of the foundational characters, like one of the actual characters from the books, the lore.
Because
that you
depending on the
guys can
story, could have been
start.
nice to have someone from the Shire as a patron to start.
Mm-hmm. Yep. And I could use that as a way to get you introduced to your human as well. So that you actually have a way of starting, or, I mean, if you guys want to, in the Discord, come up with a way that your characters know each other, you could start it that way too.
yeah, we really should start as a group.
Yeah. Otherwise, the hobbits are never going to leave the Shire.
Fair.
Like, I would vote that we establish that we're a fellowship doing whatever the thing is when we start. It just saves that meeting in the tavern part and the.
Well, unless the prancing pony is our safe haven, and then we can meet in the tavern.
Well, yes, I suppose.
And they have food
And beer.
and beer.
They come in a pint.
And rooms. So, if you've had too much food and ale, you don't have to walk far. But yes, I'll let you guys decide if you want to meet Perry after or as the game is starting, or if you want to know him already somehow.
I probably know him already somehow.
That would be my vote.
Yeah, like a lot of this, like when I look at the starting patrons, it looks like it kind of depends on like what sort of stories, because like Gandalf has his agenda and Bilbo has his agenda, so it kind of depends on what sort of stories you want to tell.
Mm-hmm.
I like it, Bilbo, because you made us look for lost things. I like this kind of objective, but I'm good with anything.
Excellent. So I'll have a patron to start you out for our actual first game.
I'm good with being an enjoyer of fine hobbit food and leaves and being here
Ooh.
often. So those are my drinking buddies. Be a good start. And we can trade stories too, because we have a messenger and I'm a lore keeper, so I can bring stories of whatever I can find on my travels, and whatever he has the right to say to me. A gossip, a gossip club.
In the
Gossip Club.
in the elf book, they have Celeborn and Galadriel as patrons.
Yes, there are different patrons in some of the books. There are some people online who have also made up lists of patrons and done some kind of source books for different areas.
But
Who's the grumpy old hobbit that stared down like the Nazgul that came in? I like that guy.
Stared down the Nazgul?
Yeah, when they were coming looking for the Shire, they're like one
Farmer
guy's
Rock.
just like, "What the fuck are you doing here?" kind of thing. He looked so grumpy, and his wife came out, and he looked even more grumpy. It's hilarious.
Oh, he was looking grumpy. There was one fellow who looked fine when Gandalf first appeared, and then his wife came out and he changed his expression to a scowl.
Oh, maybe it was that guy. Maybe that's the guy I'm thinking of.
I mean, I
Farmer Maggot. It's Farmer Maggot we're talking about.
Anyway,
Let me post.
maybe.
I put it in the Discord.
Okay.
yeah, that guy.
But I think it's the guy the Took stole vegetable from.
Farmer Maggot is, yeah.
So I'm not sure he's a hobbit.
Oh, yeah, from the books. Yeah.
Oh yeah, he's a hobbit. Checking out the lore.
Let's see here.
The original Get Off My Lawn guy. We don't see him in the movie. We just see his pitchfork or sight
Yes,
on top of
when
the vegetable.
yeah, when he's taking offense at hobbits stealing from him yet again, and the richest of hobbits stealing from him yet again. Just looking down through.
Ooh, we could work for Tom Bombadil.
I'm not against.
Probably not right away.
Sound like a great guy.
I mean, kinda, yeah. Sorry, I just need to open somebody's character sheet again. Okay, so Shadow. So, yes, Shadow is gained by encounters with the forces of Mordor and Sauron. You keep track of them in your shadow box, which sounds so much more pleasant than Shadow actually is. Let's see here. Your shadow cannot be higher than your maximum hope score. Any additional points gained do not raise your hero's shadow score. So that's good news. When your shadow matches your current hope score as opposed to your maximum, that's when you become miserable. So that's when you start having, it has an effect on your dice rolls. If your shadow reaches your maximum hope, you become ill-favored on all rolls. Come on, Control F, don't be like that. So when you're ill-favored, you roll 2 feat dice instead of 1, and you keep the worst, as opposed to being favored when you roll 2 and you keep the best. You can be favored and ill-favored at the same time, in which case you're just rolling 1 die, because they cancel each other out. Let's see. And then the bonus success dice we talked about earlier, where you could spend hope. So when you are deciding whether you're going to spend hope to get yourself an extra success die, make sure you do take a look at your shadow. It won't be a factor for a while, but once you get a little farther away from Bree and the Shire, then it's probably going to become something you should keep an eye on now and then. You can get rid of shadow by picking up shadow scars. And basically what that's going to do is use your temporary shadow and convert it to a permanent shadow. Let me just see if I can find a better...
Yeah, you get rid of all of your current, but you get 1 permanent.
Oh, it's all. Okay. So if there are other ways you can do it as well. If you take enough wounds that you are dying, so if you're wounded and you end up wounded again, or if you roll an I on your wound severity rolls, you will be considered dying. You have to receive a successful healing roll within approximately an hour, or you will die. That's why Frodo had to get to Rivendell quickly. If you're wounded, it takes longer to heal, obviously. And that injury would leave a permanent mark. So a scar, limp, missing finger. Those are some of the examples they give. Just going down through the glossary quick. Standard of living is how prosperous you are. Is anyone Uh, well off?
Yep, I'm prosperous.
Oh, well, that makes sense. You're a dwarf.
Oh, you have a not half starved pony.
I know my pony is how did they say that? Decent beast.
I'm going to give my pony a name.
You should.
That
Oh,
way,
it's gonna die.
If you, I mean,
We're in Lord of the Ring. I think it's the opposite. Like Bill the pony could never die.
he survived things that no pony should have ever had to endure to
Just
begin with. Over time, you may find treasure, which are just materials and items of uncommon worth. Could be silver, gold, precious gems. Probably not mithril. Just because mithril is, I don't want to say endgame, but I don't think any of you want to have to walk into a Balrog's lair to find some.
no.
is there
Actually,
really material like that, or is just when we take or rewards after like putting a bunch of shit on something, you can start saying that it's made of something special?
I greatly doubt that mithril would be an option.
I don't think it's
Let's
an option,
see.
but like if you lower the bulk of it and you give it more resistance and stuff, at some point it's I think I read a paragraph somewhere that said like if you find an item you can take some rewards so you can have it permanently or something, but vague in my mind.
I mean, they do have a table for treasure and wondrous artifacts, famous weapons and armor. But yeah, mithril probably not going to happen. Valerian forged blades probably not going to happen. They do have it listed in enchanted rewards, though. They have mithril armor listed. But
Yeah, I think it's
it won't
something
be
like
happening
if
anytime soon.
yeah, you need to find it and you need to take a reward to really have it. Something like that. And oh yeah, that's it. You need to find it in game, then you spend a reward to have it, and then you spend a further reward to unlock its other characteristic. Like if it's made of metal, it should be this, and this. So if you find something made of metal in game, you need to spend one of your reward to have it, and then you need to buy back all the things as you put it back in order, or something like that.
Yeah, if you've got the actual book, I think it's around page 164. Goes through some of the treasures.
Four.
165 goes into enchanted rewards.
Yeah, but still, it's not something that we're gonna encounter
You're not going to
for a
find it
while
in
now.
Bree. And despite what you may have heard about the Bagginses, you're probably not going to find it in the Shire.
No, let's just get magic turnips or something.
The spoon of abundance.
Oh, there you go. other things are fairly typical of any game. Having a shield gives you a higher parry rating. Not to be confused with the character.
No, it's way fair. It's not. It's way ward, not rating.
Okay, let's go into. Um, so you're going to have different phases that you go through. So traveling obviously is one phase. The books would not exist without traveling. So in this, they're called a journey. You're going to go on various ones. Sorry, I'm just looking through various books trying to find the best description. Okay, there we go. Okay. So they describe um, an introduction, scenes, end of a session. We all know what those are like. Game Master says some things, characters do stuff, you get XP. That's essentially what those are. Don't want combat just yet. Sorry, it's just taking a minute. Because they have councils, journeys, and for some reason they don't have them listed together. Okay, so there we go. The adventuring phase. Basically, that is going to be the bulk of a game where we have different scenes, you make some decisions, typical gaming stuff. You'll have a fellowship phase, and that basically wraps everything up. So when you finish your adventuring, your journeys, and you're going to have kind of downtime or a time of rest, that's considered a fellowship phase. So it may take 2 or 3 sessions before you get to a fellowship phase, depending on what you're doing, depending on how hard you're pushing yourselves. But that's essentially what that is.
I think some of those will make more sense as we play them.
Yeah, that's true. And as I get things bookmarked.
That will make it easier too.
I miss physical books. I mean, I have it here too, but it isn't bookmarked nearly as much as I like my books to be bookmarked.
I can't wait to build my library so I can just put the book next to me.
So essentially, what you'll be doing. So yeah, the adventuring phases are just what we would consider typical gameplay. Scenes are presented, you decide what you're doing, you do the thing. There are 3 um, parts, I guess, of an adventuring phase that do have their own rules. And that would be any combat, councils, and journeys. Oh, some of these words get used way too much. There are also some things that you can only do during certain phases. So if you are resting, then during the adventuring phase, when the company is resting, you can spend fellowship points to distribute hope among the player heroes. You can recover hope points equal to your heart score. So we'll have a list of those. Okay, so we'll go into the those 3 different segments. Just looking down through the book to see. Yeah, that's how they've got them organized. So combat, which hopefully you won't have to do too much of in the Shire, but some of you are more likely to than others, like the Bounder. So in a combat, you're going to have different stances, which basically is an indicator of the type of action you're taking and where you are in the combat scenario. So when you are in combat, then you're going to have opening volleys, which are basically just the start of the fight. So if anyone has anything ranged, would be considered an opening volley. So if you have bows, thrown weapons, if somehow you get your hands on a catapult, although just because there's a dwarf there who may
Well
take
worded
interest
insults.
if their mothers smelled of elderberries or something like that. I suppose you could consider that an opening volley. They will happen first. Typically, the PCs do theirs first, unless for some reason the NPCs have some kind of an advantage in that situation. If you're walking into something's lair, it knows the way better than you do and can see, most likely, better than you can. So something like that, it's probably going to have advantage, unless you're particularly sneaky, and then the PCs might get to go first instead. After the opening volleys, your ranged combat, essentially, then you'll get to close quarter rounds, and that is when we get kind of turn by turn fighting. So surprise attacks are if someone is going to be ambushed, either you're ambushing your opponents or you're being ambushed by someone else. That would be considered part of, I would say, the opening volley. When you get to close quarters, you're going to choose your stances. Everyone will do that. Then there's the actual engagement, and then there's the resolution. So for stances, there are 3 close combat stances. You're either forward, you're open, or you're defensive, and one ranged combat stance. So you're rearward, which is probably where at least one of the hobbits would like to be. You can choose any of them if you'd like, but for close combat, at least, if you want to be in range, then you have to actually be able to. So if you are choosing a forward stance, you are basically at the front. You are taking any opportunity to attack. You will be at closer to your opponents. So this is the forward stance is where you want to be if you're putting your nose in danger. So that may be important to hobbits or dwarves. Your attack rolls do gain 1 success die, but all close combat attacks aimed at you also get 1 success die, gain a success die. If you're choosing the open stance, there's no advantage or disadvantage to that position in a combat. If you're taking a defensive stance, then you're trying to protect yourself or protect someone else and hold your ground. So all close combat attacks aimed at you lose 1 success die, but you also lose a success die to attack anyone else. So if you're planning on being bold quite often, then you're going to want the forward stance most likely. If you are a little more concerned about getting hurt, then you're probably going to want to choose a defensive stance more often. Or rearward. Rearward, though, is used for ranged combat, so you are basically attacking from a distance. You can only use ranged weapons, and you can only be targeted by attackers who are using ranged weapons. So that is kind of a bonus as to who's going to be able to attack you. Most orcs probably aren't carrying slings. They're probably not. Well, they might be carrying bows.
R.I.P.
Wargs.
Boromir.
My poor Boromir. Wargs, on the other hand, they're not going to be carrying bows. The worst they're going to do at you from a range is smell bad. And dog breath is not considered an attack. So, there are advantages to the different stances. You will have to pick your stance for every combat.
Accordingly.
Yeah. So, if you want to be the archer, then you're going to most likely be picking rearward stances more often than not. There are some limitations to rearward stances. PCs can only take rearward if the total number of enemies isn't more than twice the number of adventurers. If you are outnumbered, greatly outnumbered, then you're not going to be able to get far enough away. For each PC who is in a rearward stance, there have to be 2 other adventurers fighting in close combat. Basically, they are keeping those frontline fighters far enough away from you that you can use your bow. Make sense?
Oh yeah.
They make more sense when you have like the little physical cards that actually let you turn and see which stance you're in. I don't know if there's anything built into the Foundry module.
There is
for stances, is there?
yeah, in the combat
Nice.
tracker. Yep.
Excellent. Okay, we'll have to set up some. Oh, you did. You have a Southern Raider in there.
Yep.
Okay, so maybe the next session what we'll do is we'll have a combat so that everyone can test out how that works. So once you've determined which stance you're going to take, is when you actually have your engagement. That is when everybody essentially will be determining how well they did. If there are more enemies than player heroes, then I will be assigning one opponent to each unengaged PC who is in close combat, and then after that, I can choose either between a PC who is in close combat, who's in that those 3 close stances, or someone who's in rearward if I have a ranged weapon that I can use. Typically, company goes first, unless there's a very specific reason why they're not going first. They resolve their actions in stance order, so the person who is in forward goes first, or person or people who are in forward go first. Then the defensive or open, and then the rearward. You can attack, you can recover your position if you get knocked back, you can recover a weapon, helm, or shield if you dropped it, because you may want to drop it depending on how weary you are and how much load you have. You could carry someone to safety. You could move around a battlefield if there's enough battlefield to move around. Those would all be considered primary actions as opposed to a secondary action, which would be just the typical advancing and retreating while you're fighting, trying to find someone on a battlefield if you're trying to target someone specifically and you're not entirely sure where you are. A secondary action would be just trying to find them, essentially. Drawing a weapon would be considered a secondary action. Removing a helm or dropping a shield or weapon to reduce your load, that's a secondary action. It does take more effort to pick it up than to drop it, so you might want to also keep that in mind while you're in combat. A main action like recovering your position, picking up something you've dropped, carrying someone to safety, moving across the battlefield, your actual attack. Those are considered main actions and they need your actual attention. It doesn't take any attention to chuck your helm off. And that's why, that's one of those secondary actions. Secondary actions are typically things you do quick that don't require a whole lot of thought. And main actions would be things that are a bit more involved or require some focus from you. When you're fighting, again, you'll do it in order of forward, open or defensive, and then ranged. Basically, your attack roll is based on your strength target number, modified by the parry rating of your enemy, the targeted enemy. Let's see if Chris, I'm going to pull your poor Took onto the
What?
onto the field here, onto the map to see if targeting will work. I have you targeted right now with that Southern Raider. How dare he be in the Shire? Are you able to target as the player?
Yep.
Excellent. Okay, so let's see if this
Stab
actually
him!
works.
Stab him!
Risk your nose. Be in that forward stance. Oh, look at you. That's because I have no armor, no shield, no headgear.
It still failed. I rolled an 8.
Oh, I was looking at the second one. No, that was rolled an hour ago. 16 seconds ago. Oh yeah, there we go. I had to scroll down.
So yeah, the combat tracker, if you look at it, it actually does have a
It does have the breakdown.
yeah. So it does opening volley, and then once that is all done, then it goes to combat, and you can begin combat. And then if you right click on your token, you pull up the little radial menu, and there'll be things for the stance for the characters.
I've pulled everyone else onto the map as well.
And then you can
I
see
did put them a bit far away, but
Yeah.
they should be able to move. You
yeah.
guys should be able to move your tokens.
But you'll see in the combat tracker, it actually tells you what stance you're in.
Picture.
There you guys are.
Toggle combat stance.
Oof. It's a lot of ranged. I'm in trouble. Oh, that's better.
Okay, that's pretty easy.
Oh, the other thing too is I think you can actually drop your or drag your weapons down to your hotbar for ease of use.
You absolutely can.
Oh, I should have another done that because I'm forward. Oh man, we are going to get our asses kicked in the first fight.
Well, I was defensive. It's probably better if I just go attack. What's the difference between defensive and forward?
Forward, you get a bonus to hit, but they get a bonus to hit you. Defense, you get a bonus to your defense, and you can defend an ally as well. Oh, there, somebody hit.
So what's the difference between forward and open?
Open, there's no bonus,
Okay.
I believe.
Let me see.
Yes. There's no bonus to you, but there's also no bonus to them.
Yeah. And each of the stances also has a like non-attack thing that you can do. So like forward stance, you can intimidate. Open, you can rally a comrade to give somebody else a bonus. Defensive, you can protect somebody else. And rearward, you can prepare a shot to get a bonus on your next attack.
Sorry, I'm just going into the Discord for a sec. I'm just going to put a quick description for the stances.
Perry stabbed him too.
Oh no.
Oh, shot him with an arrow.
I'm in trouble.
I don't know why it didn't do any damage for parries, though.
I was not targeted, I think.
Oh, that'd be why. So yeah, the way damage works, like you'll see, like Robin did 7 because his weapon does 3, and then his super success added +4 from heavy blow, and then because it was a Gandalf symbol, it's also causes a wound.
There you go.
So yeah, heavy blow does additional damage. I think it's additional damage equal to your strength.
It said 4, and I have 4 strength, so that tracks.
Yes, one is a success icon to inflict to your adversary an additional loss of endurance equal to your strength rating.
When you are, as a PC, choosing your stance, where are you doing that?
If you right click on your token,
Okay.
you get a little menu. I cannot stab anybody.
Yeah, you're not the stabby type.
I don't think I'm the bow type either. Oh, there we go. I shot a guy with a bow.
Yeah, 1 and 4. That's not great.
Is that an
Uh,
automatic success?
I think it was 1 and 6 actually.
Oh god, even worse.
But that's okay
dear.
because you guys beat the crap out of him eventually.
I mean, I can't choose a stance, so
No, it's because you don't get stances.
I suppose that's true.
You are an our mercy.
Because you're a meanie.
I am a meanie, and that's a very meanie kind of token. So there is a description in the Discord for the 4 different stances and the bonus or detriment that you're going to get from them. So you have that in case you need it.
I think it's probably getting close to bedtime for Tony
Yeah.
and stuff too.
Yeah, it's 10:30 here in New Brunswick. So what we'll do.
We'll level up, and then
Yeah.
Sorry, you're not going to get to level up from one Southern Raider. I hate to say. He has nothing of interest on him. He makes no vast claims about how his Loremaster will dominate you all. He just quietly gets apparently pin-cushioned. Cause yeah, that's a lot of bows. Oh, Robin got a great success with his short sword. Yeah, he goes down looking like a porcupine.
So apparently there's 2 types of XP. There are everybody gets 3 skill points at the end of every game session and 3 adventure points at the end of every game session.
Yeah, I
And
saw that
obviously-
they spent different.
Yeah, obviously not for this. They're kind of spent similarly, but like your combat skills, you can only use adventure points on. Like you can't use your skill points for your combat proficiencies.
All right. And I think you need the adventure point also for the virtues and rewards.
I think you can spend. Yeah, I'd have to check. But yeah, so you do get like 3 of each for each real session. Uh, so yes, combat proficiency, valor, or wisdom can only be spent adventure points.
That's way down at the bottom of your character sheet.
Yeah.
For the skill points and adventure points.
And it's like 8 adventure points to buy up to a rank 2. So at 3 per session, you're at least 3 sessions away from being able to increase valor or wisdom. So
I'm not sure I understood that.
so at the end of every real session, you get 3 skill points and 3 adventure points.
Yeah.
For example, it costs 8 adventure points to buy valor 2 or wisdom 2. So since you only get 3 per session, it's going to take you at least 3 sessions to get up to valor or wisdom 2.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
In the meantime, you would have gotten 9 skill points that you could have bought like any of your non-combat skills with. So skills rise slightly faster because you can use the other points for them. Which is better than having to do a math to figure out that this thing costs twice as much as that thing.
Yeah, it's not as complex as, say, Marvel or DC Heroes.
Oh yeah, DC Heroes is gross.
Yeah.
Champions, RuneQuest. Is it RuneQuest?
Oh, RuneQuest is super easy. RuneQuest is I used a skill I rolled to see if it goes up.
Oh, maybe not. What was the other one? Doesn't matter. Ancient game.
All right.
Back in the early 90s. But yes, you do get additional adventure points during the Yule Fellowship phase, but it's Yule. It doesn't happen all that often.
I love the fact that they have a built-in holiday.
It is kind of nice. It does mean that I'm going to have to keep track of the dates. But yes, having a built-in holiday is kind of funny.
Roman's gonna get so stoned.
Someone else will have to work that night. So thanks for coming out, guys. Appreciate going through session 0. We'll do our next get together on the 3rd of February.
Excellent.
And
For
then
Sounds good.
after that,
and second breakfast.
I will put together a menu.
oh god, the
Nice.
bangers and mash tonight were nice. I don't know if I can handle that again in 2 weeks though.
No, I'll do like spiced potato and mashed potato.
I'm sure somewhere in the house we have a Lord of the Rings recipe.
No, we don't actually. We have the D&D one,
What?
and that's close enough.
I'll know what to get you next Christmas.
We'll have to
There you
rename
go.
everything. I will have to check my collection of books that I have acquired from the internet and see if I have a Lord of the Rings cookbook somewhere. Because
And,
there's got to be one.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to disconnect, guys. So thank you very much for
Yep.
tonight.
Perfect. Thanks.
Thanks
And
for being here.
yeah, we're gonna have fun.
Hopefully,
And
everyone comes back in 2 weeks.
And
Oh,
if you
well,
have
yeah.
don't worry
any
about it.
And-
Delta Green between the
Yeah,
Lord of the Ring,
that'll that'll be an interesting venue
Change of pace. Yeah, we're gonna have to. I'm gonna have to prepare my stuff, but yes, I'm down for it too. So we'll keep in touch.
Excellent.
Perfect. Have a good night, folks.
All right,
Night,
we'll see y'all in
guys.
a couple weeks.
Yes.
Thanks for running.
Yeah.
Goodbye.
Cheers.
Bye, folks.
take care, y'all.